And I have a couple colleagues here that are also logged in that'll be interacting with me throughout the demo. As Sharon said, please feel free to ask questions in the Q&A at any point in time, as our moderators will go ahead and answer those questions for you. Now we'll start with, what is Teams? So Teams is a collaborative hub and workspace that brings all the best of Office 365 in one place. Allows you to communicate, share files, all in one place. What you'll notice many times during the demo is that I will be interacting with a lot of different tools such as Office 365, SharePoint, and OneDrive, all while still within Teams application. So let's begin walking through Teams. I currently am using the web portal of Teams. So I'm going to go ahead and be on teams.microsoft.com. Although you can be using the mobile application as well as the desktop application. So you can see here along the left-hand side, we have activity, we have chat, we have Teams, calendar, calls, and files. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to start off within chat. Now, chat is where you have those one-to-one or one-to-many conversations. This is much like you would in Skype for Business. It's an instant messaging conversation. Now, Teams is a persistent chat. So what you'll notice is when I click on Michael's name, any conversation that we previously had still retains within Michael's profile. And we can go ahead and pick up where we left off. So I'm going to go ahead and ask Michael if he has quick time to chat. And we see when Michael is typing, we'll see right along the top, right above where we'll type a message window. Now, let's say I want to give Michael a little bit more context about what I want to have a conversation about with him. When I actually click on this formatting button here, this is where you'll get some rich text format. So I'm able to format my message to Michael now, much like I would an Outlook email. I can go ahead and do things like bold or italicize, add a hyperlink if I would need to. And I'm also able to go ahead and go into these three little ellipses here that say more options. And once I click on these more options, I have a couple more options here that I'm able to do, such as I can insert a table. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mark this message as important. Now, once I send this message to Michael, what you'll notice is we'll have this nice red exclamation point here. And this tells Michael that, hey, this message is an important message that I need you to answer. Now, what Michael can do, and I'll hover over his message to go ahead and show you an example. Actually, he did it for me, is he reacted to that message. He did that by hovering over the message and getting what's called these reactions. So you can go ahead and give somebody a thumbs up and let them know that you've acknowledged and read that message. Now I can see I have another colleague over here chatting with me as well. And once you get a notification for a new chat, you'll see that your chat window here will have the number. So I'll have a little number 1 here. And you can see that Shivam is also chatting with me. So I'm going to go ahead and see what Shivam would like. Hey, can you help me with the sample budget? So first off, this may be a document that Shivam and I have previously been working on. And where you'll be able to get those documents is by going into Files. First, I'm going to see if I can go ahead and share from my OneDrive from Business. I'm going to click on this little paperclip here. I'm going to attach a document. Click on the wrong one. So now that I've sent this document to Shivam, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to click on this document. And what you'll notice is I'm still within Teams. I'm going to get this option to edit the document, and I can do it where I'll edit in Teams, or I'll edit in the desktop application or the browser. So I'm going to go ahead and choose to edit this document in Teams. Now, Shivam is also in the document, and I can tell because I can see his name at the top, and I can see that he's also editing. Office 365 has assigned him a color, and now I can see exactly which cell and window Shivam is in. So I can go ahead and collaborate with Shivam at any point in time. And we can see that he's making some changes there, and I'm also making changes to the document as well. Now, if I want to do things like make a comment to track any changes that we're making, I can go ahead and make new comments. And you'll see it's assigned now that the comment is being made by me. Wasn't typing, sorry. So all of those tools that you're used to using when you're using all these Office 365 applications still apply. Now, another great thing that we can do while we're in this document, making comments and reviewing it, is we can still have our conversation here to the right-hand side. Well, I'm still able to have my team's conversation with Shivam, and we're able to edit this document at the same time. So I'm going to go ahead now, and I'm going to close out of this document. At any point in time, if I would like to reference these documents that I've worked on with an individual, I can just go and hover over, click on this chat portion next to their name, or files, I'm sorry. And you can see these are all files that have been shared back and forth between each of us. So you'll see here that when you're in a one-to-one chat, you'll actually know which person sent this document. This is because this document now lives in that individual's OneDrive for Business, and they've given the other individual permission to work or co-author this document. Now, at any point in time, the individual that owns a document can set those permissions, such as making it a final copy or revoking the access that the other individual has. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to chat. Right next to attach, you'll see a couple of other things that you're able to do, like add some emojis, some GIFs, and some stickers. But right next to that as well, you're able to schedule a meeting with the individual without leaving the conversation. So Shivam and I have been going back and forth in this document, but I want to have a quick touch base with him later on over this document. So we'll say that this is going to be our budget review. Go ahead and make that meeting for 8:30. You can see it automatically adds Shivam, but we'll be able to add other people as well if we needed to. And I'm just going to go ahead and hit schedule. Now, this is great because it throws it right onto your team's calendar, and you don't have to worry about going into an Outlook version or and opening up meetings and creating a meeting that way. Now, right up here as well, if I wanted to maybe, instead of setting up a meeting, give Shivam a quick call, I'm able to click here or here where I can video call or audio call Shivam, and it'll just give him a ring and he'll be able to have that conversation with me quickly. Now, I'm going to go ahead now and bring in another individual to this conversation. Shivam and I are noticing that we're constantly referencing work that Michael has done with us in previous projects. So we're going to go ahead and click this add button. We're going to add Michael to this conversation. So I've gone ahead and I've sent Michael and Shivam that group chat now. Go ahead and we'll reattach that document, because now that we have a new conversation, that file sharing and attachment restarts. But what we'll notice is we're all able to now collaborate and work on this document together. So group chats can serve the purpose of having quick conversations with more than one individual now. And you're actually able to have up to 100 people in a group chat. I can see that Shivam's now mentioned Michael and myself, and I noticed that Shivam's mentioned me because I got this notification down here. And I also see this little @ symbol with a red bolded version of my name. That means Shivam has mentioned or called me out within the chat. Now that we're working on this sample budget, I also noticed that we need to bring in another colleague. When I go ahead and I'll click here, now what you'll notice is I see the list of people in this group, but when I click add another person, you get this window that gives you more options. So now I have the ability to include chat history, or don't include chat history, I'm sorry. Include the chat history for the past X amount of days, so I can decide if the individual can see the history maybe for the past day or two, or I can decide if I want the person to see all chat history. And I'm going to select that, and we're going to pull Don into this conversation. Now, when I do things like this, you'll see that everyone within the group chat is notified that I have added another individual and they're able to see the chat history within this conversation. Now, another thing that we can do is we can go ahead and name this group chat. So at any point in time, you'll see all 3 users' names are just listed one by one. So what we can do is go ahead and click next to the individual's names. You'll see this little pencil up there. We're going to go ahead and name this our budget team. So now I've renamed that chat and that conversation as well. Now, when you're in a group chat, anybody can rename the chat and anybody can also add or remove people from the team. And at any point in time, you can also leave this conversation. If you were to leave this conversation or remove somebody from the conversation, so let's say now Don's done his work, so we're going to go ahead and part of the project, so we're going to go ahead and remove him. You'll see that Don is actually going to be able to still have access to the chat, the conversation to the chat up until the point where he was a part of it. Shiva, Michael, and myself can still continue to have a conversation within this window or within this group chat, and Don will not be able to see it because now he's been removed from the conversation. Now, if we're going along here where you actually see all of your recent chats as well, you'll see that if at any point in time when you hover over a conversation, you'll see these 3 little dots. And what these 3 little dots do is you'll be able to do things like maybe mute this so that you're not getting notifications from this conversation. You can hide this conversation, which means once you do that, it'll actually disappear from your chat history. And at any point in time, you can search for it and you'll be able to enter that conversation right where you left off. And the other thing you can do is you can add people to your or you can pin conversations to the top. So I'm going to go ahead and unhide this now. And what you can do is you can pin this conversation to the top because you're finding that you're frequently going into this conversation and you want it to be favorited at the top. So you can see now you have your pinned conversations and you have all your other recent conversations after that. Now, next to your recent chats is where you're actually able to go ahead and create contact groups. So you can see here, I've already organized some contact groups. And the way that you do that is you actually just click here and you'll name that contact group that you would like. So you're able to add people to these contact groups by just going to the 3 little dots, hitting add a contact, and we'll add another colleague here. And you can see that now I have a nice little organized way of having all of my contacts grouped together. So at this point, I'll quickly take a pause and see if our moderator has any questions that may need to be answered.
Thanks, Fatia. Actually, just one question that relates to the maximum number of attendees within a chat. And currently that number is 100. So I think that's something to be mindful of as you are collaborating and thinking about the scope of members that you want to have within that conversation. So for chats, it's 100. And a little bit shortly, I'm sorry, a little bit later when you show the teams, that certainly gives you the ability to have more individuals within that conversation. For teams, that limit is 5,000 versus 100 for a group chat. Thanks, Fatia.
Thank you. All right, so we're going to go ahead now and we'll move on into Teams. So Microsoft Teams is really the heart of this application. So this Teams allows you to go out, Microsoft Teams allows you to collaborate with individuals. And what you'll have is you'll have a team and you'll have a couple of different channels within these teams. So you can see here, I'm part of a couple teams and I have some teams here that are also hidden. Now, at any point in time, if maybe I don't want to see a team in my forefront, I'm able to go ahead and hide those teams, but still be a member of those teams. Now you can see here that my teams can be organized in any way that I see fit. So if maybe I'm having more interaction within this team here, I'm able to drag that to the top or wherever I see that it would work out. Now, to create a team is really easy. So we can go ahead and go down here and click Join or Create a Team. I'm going to go ahead and create a team. And you have the ability to build a team from scratch or an existing Office 365 group, but I'm going to go ahead and build this team from scratch. You have the choice here to make it public or private. I always recommend if you need to make a team, and this is going to be a collaborative space for those you work with on a regular basis, make that team private. That way you can manage and control who's a member of the team and who's also able to join the team. Make this our second training teams. We'll go ahead and hit create. And it's that easy to create a team. Now, at any point in time now, you're able to add people, but we're going to go ahead and add some people here as well. So I'm going to add Shivam. And when you add individuals now, you have the ability to go ahead and decide, do I want this person to be a member or an owner? Now, an owner of a team will have some different management tools for the team. So I'm going to showcase that in a second. However, I'm going to make Michael, and Shivam members, and we'll leave Don and Marvin as members of the team and Michael and Shivam as owners of this team. So we'll go ahead and hit close. Now, at any point in time, like you said, if you see these three little dots and you click, you're actually able to add more members through here. So you can click add members here and you'll get that same window. Or you can go to manage team. We're going to go ahead and go to the managing team portion. And you can see here, these are the owners of our team, and these are the members that we would like. And the difference between an owner and a member is an owner can have the ability to add more individuals, control what can and cannot be done within the team, and also demote or promote people. So if I wanted to take any member from an owner to a member, you're able to do that. Or if you wanted to remove people as well. Now, members of the team, once they are a part of a team, they also get this view where they see owners and members. They just cannot manage the roles or add new members. So I'm going to go ahead and showcase. You can add a new member here at any point in time. It's really easy. Now, right up here, going along the top, this is where you'll see any pending requests. So if anyone in that window where we saw where you join or create a team, if anyone's requested to join your team from that window, this is where you'll see that. This is where you can see what apps are available or turned on. And even from there, you can decide and manage if you would like those apps to be available. And then we're going to go into some channel management. So under channel management here, you're able to see all channels that have been created in the last activity in them. So you can add a channel at any point in time. That quickly. You can also add a channel from right here. I'm also going to go back into managing your team because I want to talk about some of the settings that are available to you. So you can go ahead and upload a team photo. So whether that's a logo or a picture, just to go ahead and personalize this team. You can manage the permissions of your members. So you can decide, are they able to update or create channels? Are they able to delete or restore channels? And you can go ahead and manage how you would like your team to, what you would like your team to be able to interact with. You can go ahead and decide who can mention or who can create, or if it'll do an @mention notification for everybody within the team. You can generate a team code, which is a great way to add multiple people into the team if they're not part of an Office 365 group. So by clicking generate here, what you'll see is it'll give you a code, and when someone goes to join and create a team, they'll be able to enter that code and be joined into that team automatically as a member. Now, at any point in time, when you create this code and send this code will be an active code to allow anybody to the team. So once everyone you maybe have sent this code to has joined the team, I recommend either resetting or removing the code. That way that previous code no longer works. And the fun stuff. So as a team owner, you can decide if you want GIFs, memes, and stickers to be turned off within a team. And this is just by checking these boxes. So let's say maybe I don't want GIFs to be turned on. I'll just uncheck this box and you'll be able to, it'll automatically save for you. Now we're going to go ahead and jump back into Teams, but for this point of the demo, I'm actually going to be interacting in my original Teams training because we have some content already built within there. So you can see here, now we actually have created this Teams, this training team. We have multiple different channels here within the team. And these channels allow you to collaborate and work in these channels with the same members that are a part of the team. So once a person is a member of this team, they'll be able to see all channels that are a part of the team, all conversations and documents shared. So everybody in here can post, interact, and work with this team. Now, let's say I am a member of this team, but I don't really interact with this Windows 10 training group. I can actually decide to hide this channel so I don't see it. But if I later wanted to reference what was going on, I'm able to go ahead and click on that and see all conversations that were there. Now you can see here that we actually have, this is what we call an announcement. Now, an announcement allows you to get, you see it has this nice bold lettering and it gets people's attention when you're posting something. Now, by clicking format, like or the compose box, like we did earlier, you'll be able to see now we have a couple more options. So I can either have a new conversation or an announcement. And what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to do that @ mention that Shivam did earlier. So by clicking @ now you'll see I have some suggestions that have come up. But if I were to type in @Michael and @Shivam, just to make sure that they're in the right place. And go ahead and send that. And now you'll see this is an announcement that I posted for everybody. And you can also see that I've mentioned Michael and Shivam within the channel, within this post, I'm sorry. Now you can also mention a channel. So if I wanted to go ahead and mention that the and you can see that Michael's mentioned me again. And this gives you that little @ symbol within there. Now, if you mention an individual, you'll see this @ symbol. And if you mention a channel, what you'll see is this little window, this little box here that looks like channels with some text in it. That means you mentioned a channel. Now, the last mention that you can do is you can mention the whole team. So this may be specific in, I'm going to go ahead and say @training team. Now you may mention the whole team because, like I said earlier, I wasn't a part of this Windows 10 group, so I had made that team hidden. Maybe some people may do that with some of these other channels here. So when you mention a team, everybody gets a notification that a team has been mentioned or a channel has been mentioned. And you can see here my activity bell is lighting up, and we'll get into activity a little bit later. But my activity bell is lighting up and saying that there's some mentions or things that I need to go ahead and take a look at. So that's why you would want to mention a team, is maybe you want to get everybody's attention and maybe they usually don't look into that channel. Now you can see here that each one of our channels has conversation pertaining to that particular topic. So what's great is when you're a part of a team, each channel now can have those same members of the team with conversation that gears towards that topic. So you can see here we have our different training groups, and we can also see any websites that are being shared or any files that have been shared. So if we go in here, we'll see what's going on. I think we have all of our file sharing actually in general. So by clicking on files, you'll see all the documents that have been shared within this channel here. Now, Teams is backed by a SharePoint, and a SharePoint Online allows you to be able to collaborate and work with a larger group. Now, to upload a document to a SharePoint or a team, an upload of the document would need to be 15 gigs. That's the minimum upload or maximum upload, I'm sorry, for each document. And you'll be able to go quickly if you need to by clicking on these three little dots. It may actually show for you because I'm zoomed in a little larger, but you'll say open in SharePoint. So if you wanted to go ahead and take a look at the documents in each library within SharePoint Online, you can go ahead and click here and it'll take you to its respective SharePoint Online, where you'll be able to also go ahead and manage specific access to the document and permissions to that document as well. Now, just continuing to go along the top, you have a wiki. And a wiki allows you to have a quick resources page that you're able to use, and you can go ahead and add any rich text that you may need. But if you click on this tab right up here, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and add a tab for a document. So we're going to click Word. And what this will do is this will post the document at the top of our channel and allow us to have a quick and easy access to it. So I'm going to go ahead and rename my tab Report. I'm going to select the document and I'm going to click Save. And now you'll see that our document is pinned to the top for someone to very quickly go into and reference at any point in time. It's right along the top next to Post Files and Wiki. Other things that you can pin to the top include other Office 365 applications. So you can do the same that I just did for that Word document for any Excel or PowerPoint documents. You can pin a SharePoint to the top. You can also go ahead and create a OneNote for this team and have that pinned to the top of the channel as well. And this is a great way to collaborate and take any quick notes with the group that's in the team with you. But next one I want to go over is Planner. So Planner actually allows you to have a task management tool that allows you to go ahead and stay organized, assign tasks, and keep track of what's going on within your team. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new planner. So we're going to go ahead and click Save for this new planner. And a planner can be added to any channel within. So each channel here can have its own planner, or you can have one planner for the whole team. It really just depends on how many tasks need to be assigned. So I'm going to go ahead and create a planner for the whole team. So I've put it within my general channel because that's going to be the main channel that everyone's always going to have some information in. So I'm going to go ahead and name what's called these buckets the different channels. Office 365 training, I'll name this one that. All right, so I've gone ahead and I've created some buckets within my planner here. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to assign some tasks. So we're going to go ahead and say reviews and those changes that have just been made. I want this to go ahead and we're going to set a due date for it. So I'll make it due by Tuesday. And now you can go ahead and assign people. So I'm going to assign this to Shivam, and we'll click Add Task. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to assign this task to Michael. Now, at any point in time, if I wanted to go ahead and see what the progress or how this task is going, by clicking on it, I can see that it hasn't been started, and I can see that there haven't been any notes or anything attached to it. Now, if I needed to go ahead and make a checklist for that individual that I made the task for, or if I wanted to add an attachment, I'm able to go ahead and do that. Now, the person who's this task is assigned to can go in and say maybe this is in progress, or they've completed it at any point in time. And you can also go ahead and organize it. So maybe I want to create this plan and I can go ahead and have some fun with it and color coordinate and organize so that people know which area this may fall into. We'll go ahead and close. And you can see here, when someone's actually completed the task, it goes into the same, it's within that same bucket, but now you'll see an area that says show for completed tasks. And when you click this button here, you'll see that I see Shivam completed the task on today, which is great. He went ahead and finished it before the task was actually due. Now I can also see a charts view, and I can quickly see who's started their tasks, who's maybe has it in progress, what tasks are late and completed. Now, when a task is assigned to somebody, Microsoft Planner will go ahead and send them an email notification saying that, hey, someone's assigned a task to you. And if a task is, and you also get a weekly reminder of tasks that you may have upcoming that need to be completed. Now, if a task is late, the person who assigned the task and the person who the task was assigned to will get an email notification saying that this task is overdue and now late. That's not an email that somebody would like to get. You can go ahead and see the schedule view as well. And the schedule view allows you to see the calendar view of all of the tasks that are assigned to you within these different buckets. Now, Planner also has an online website that you can go to through the portal, where you actually will be able to see all of your planners in one place. So maybe you have a planner in each one of these channels and you just want a quick view of that planner. You're able to go ahead and go to that online Planner web portal and see Planner all in one place, all your plans in one place. Now we'll go ahead and go back to post. Now I can see that I've been interacting with this channel frequently. So what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead again to these three little dots. Sorry, I'm not going to use the general channel. I'm going to go ahead and go to these three little dots, and I'm going to pin it to the top. You should be able to pin this to the top the same way that you were able to do with a chat. And what that'll do is it'll put it right up top so you're able to quickly get to those Teams channels that you're frequently entering and going into. Sorry, I can't showcase that. Now, right along the bottom here as well, so now I'm going to go into my Office 365 channel. Let's say I need to create a reoccurring meeting for this Office 365 team here. Now, by going to this Meet Now button, this is much like we created that meeting earlier with Shivam without leaving the chat. This will look scary at first because it'll actually look like you're about to call everybody within the channel. And what we're going to do is we're going to click Schedule a Meeting, which is hidden right down here instead. Now you'll notice that when you're in this meeting scheduling tool, it actually is within the channel that you would like to make it in. So I'm going to go ahead and say that I want to have this meeting to be weekly. So I'm going to go ahead and repeat this meeting. And we'll say 9 a.m. every Friday. And we'll hit schedule. Now, when you schedule a reoccurring meeting within a channel, what you'll notice is it'll live here. It'll also be on your calendar, which we'll show later on. But this reoccurring meeting, now, anytime that someone enters this meeting, any notes that have to do with this meeting from every weekly meeting will actually live in one place. You'll also notice that right along the top here, we had something appear now within the channel called meeting notes. And meeting notes is any notes that need to be taken during the meeting, any maybe agendas or tasks that need to be completed before the next meeting. Now, I'm going to go ahead and enter this meeting. I'm going to go ahead and click join. And we'll get into meetings a little bit more in depth as far as creating meetings and things like that. This is just showcasing how you do it within a channel. Now, when I go ahead and I click join now for this meeting, I enter the meeting, wait for the people to be here. This, you'll see here that I can actually start recording this meeting. And when I do record this meeting, what you'll notice now is, of course, you have to let everybody know that the meeting is being recorded. And when I do record this meeting, and also I'm going to start my meeting notes, and we'll get. Now I'm going to end this call. And it does take a second to usually go ahead and for that meeting to drop in there. But you'll see, I can see the conversation that Shivam was having within the chat window. I can see that the meeting notes were started for this meeting. And I can also see that someone has recorded this meeting and now that recording lives directly within that same conversation window within that channel. Now, if I were to go into our meeting notes, you can see those meeting notes that were taken during the meeting. And we can see all context that was there. So this allows you to have all the information from any meetings that you're having in one place, which is great because you don't have to go ahead and look for who sent the meeting notes in your email, what notes were taken, or where, if it was recorded, where that recording lives. It all lives in one place. Now, I'll go ahead now and pause and see if there are any questions from our moderator.
Actually, just a few questions related to the meeting notes that are generated during a given session. And the question was whether or not the meeting notes would be available if it's a recurring meeting. And the answer to that is yes. So if it was a recurring meeting and say a week later or a month later, you kick off session number 2, those meeting notes that were generated during the first session will be available for you for each recurring meeting, so you can build and have that historical context of all the notes that were collected for the duration of that entire meeting event. And I think that is all for now.
Thank you. All right, so we'll go ahead and we will move on into calendar. But before we move on into calendar, I would recommend that each of you go ahead into your teams and create some teams and start some collaboration within those that you frequently email. If you're finding that that you're frequently emailing the same group of people and maybe having different conversations about different topics, that's a great place to go ahead and start a team and then create some channels around that conversation. And there's really no mistakes that you can make, because at any point in time, you can delete a team or you can delete a channel, and you can decide, maybe this specific channel needs its own team, so you can go ahead and migrate that to have its own team, and then you have each one of its own channels. But the best way is to go ahead into teams and start playing around, creating teams for those that you work with on a daily basis, and really getting and utilizing the collaborative space that Teams allows you to work in. Okay, that being said, go ahead and move on into calendar. Now, your calendar here is going to have all of your Teams meetings that you create within your Teams tenant for your group. So you can see here we have some meetings going on. So you can see that this one actually here, you can see it has this little circle. So that tells you it's a reoccurring meeting. But then you can also see that that same channel symbol when we mentioned a channel is there as well. So this allows you to see that this is a Teams meeting, and that this is a Teams meeting within a Teams channel, and that it's reoccurring. Now you can go ahead and change the view of your calendar, so you can decide if you want it to be viewed by week, by work week, or by day. So you can go ahead and customize that view. You can go ahead and click this Meet Now button, and this Meet Now will actually create a meeting where you're able to invite and call attendees into that meeting. And then you can also create a new meeting. So we're going to schedule a new meeting. And what you'll see is this is that same window that pops up when we schedule the meeting with Shivam and when we schedule the meeting with our Teams channel. Now this allows you to go ahead and we'll go ahead and name this meeting. So we'll say so let's say this is our AM budget meeting. So we can go ahead and we can select some times, but before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and invite some people. So invite a couple of my colleagues here. And you can see now that I have this section here that allows, it's suggesting for me what times actually works for each of our calendars. Now, if I were to click this scheduling assistant button, what you'll notice and see is this actually gives you a nice visually friendly way to see everybody's calendar and see if everyone is available to go ahead and join this meeting. So you can see, I can see that Shivam is currently in a meeting, but Michael is free. But if we go ahead into this 10 a.m. slot, we can see that, or 10:30 slot, we can see that everybody's calendar is free at this point. Now you can tell if someone is unavailable by this solid box. That'll tell you that they have a meeting at that time. If there is a box or window with a couple of purple lines going diagonal down, that means that they are tentative and they have something tentatively on their calendar, so they may or may not be available. Now I'm going to go ahead and we're going to pick this time. Let's go back. And earlier where I had created that meeting within a Teams channel, you're actually still able to do that here when you're creating a meeting as well. So you can go ahead and click if you would want a specific channel to be a part of that team. You can do that as well. We showcase that, so we're going to go ahead and make this meeting now. Now, I can see here when the meeting is created, I'm actually able to go ahead and, I can decide if I want to cancel the meeting, chat with the participants, or if I want to make any changes or edits to the meeting, this is where I would do that as well. Now, you can see when a meeting is going on or with that time window that you can go ahead and click join. But at any point in time, you can click this meeting here and you're able to join it as well. So I want to go ahead and chat with Michael and Shivam before the meeting starts. So what you'll notice is every meeting actually has a respective chat, and it takes you back to the chat window that we were going over earlier. Now, if I need to share any documentation before the meeting starts, I'm able to do that here. I'm able to send that to all the individuals that were a part of that meeting. And then later on, when we join that meeting, what you'll notice is that conversation is still going to be there as well. You can also go ahead and create your agenda and your meeting notes before your meeting. So meeting notes can actually be taken before a meeting, during a meeting, or after a meeting. So if I want to say that this is going to be our meeting agenda, okay, so you can see here I have things that we may need to review for the meeting. I can see that I can also have that conversation before the meeting even starts. This is a way too that many people I know, if they're running late for a meeting or maybe they're unable to join because they had something come up on their calendar last minute, they're able to chat with those participants and say, hey, I'm sorry, I'm unable to join the meeting, or if any changes happen, such as them running late. Now I'm going to go ahead and go back into my calendar. I'm going to go into my budget meeting. Then I'm going to join the meeting. Now, I like to call this your powder room because this allows you to go ahead and get ready before you actually enter the meeting. When you click join a Teams meeting, it doesn't actually just throw you into the meeting. It allows you to go ahead and see, do I want my camera on? Do I want my mic on? So you're able to go ahead and very quietly enter the meeting without entering the meeting with either one of those two on. And we all know how awkward that can be. You can also go into your devices here, and you can say things like, is my audio coming out of the right headset? So if you're using a headset, excuse me, you're able to make sure that the speakers and microphone are coming out of that headset. If you're using a device with a camera, you're able to make sure that the correct camera is turned on and it's facing the right way. So like I'm using my Surface Pro, so sometimes it may go ahead and if by accident it defaults to the rear camera, I'm able to go ahead and change these settings before I enter the meeting. So now that I've made sure that everything is perfect, I'm going to go ahead and click join. And I can see here that I also have another individual in the meeting with me. At any point in time, if I want to show other participants, I'm able to click the Show Participants button and see who is here for the meeting and who hasn't maybe responded to the email and wasn't able to enter that meeting. Now, if I had forgotten to add anybody to this meeting, I'm able to go ahead and add them to the invite last minute either this way, or I can go ahead and edit the original invite and add them to the invite as well. Okay, so next we're going to go over that conversation. So that chat that we had before the meeting actually started, the documents that we shared and everything there, it's all there within that chat window. So we can pick up like right where we left off. So this is perfect for pre-meeting prep and post-meeting conversations as well. So maybe after the meeting, you want to have a quick note or a conversation saying, hey, I missed what that code you asked was. Is it in the meeting notes, or whatever questions you may have for people who attended this meeting. Again, too, we're able to also show our meeting notes, and you can see there's our agenda in there, and we can still add on to our meeting notes later on. So we're adding, and meeting notes can be taken by anyone that is a part of the meeting. So whether it's the individual that has created the meeting or is a attendee for the meeting, meeting notes can be taken here at any point in time. And then your share tray is where you actually decide where you want to what from your computer or you would like to share. So you can share your desktop, a specific window, and things like that. Now I'm going to go ahead and end this call. You always get this little feedback survey that just allows you to see, hey, how have we done? We do really appreciate if you just let us know if something went wrong with your call quality or if it was great. The more that we learn from teams, the better that it gets. So we always do appreciate that feedback. All right, and we can see that Shivam is still having this conversation here as well. Now, if somebody was still within this meeting, and Shivam, if you can go ahead and re-enter that meeting so I can show what I wanted to do, you'll actually see if the meeting is still going on, you'll see a logo right here. So you'll see this little thing, the camera being turned on, saying that the meeting is still going on, and that the chat window here is nice and it's big and purple. So you can go ahead and rejoin the meeting and you'll see who's a part of the meeting. Now, if Shivam exits the meeting, you'll see now that I can see that the meeting ended and that the meeting's not going on anymore. Now, after the meeting ended, it went ahead and it threw us again back into chat because every meeting has that respective chat. And we're able to, either keep that chat conversation or hide it. So some people do like to hide meeting conversations from their recent history. So if you do that, there's no worries. You're actually, because Teams is that persistent chat, able to go back and search for it. So if I wanted to search for that meeting, so here's our budget meeting AM, I'm able to go ahead and pick up right where we left off. The other way that you can revisit this this conversation or these notes that may have been taken, and your meeting notes again live right up here. Files that were shared are also here within the chat window for that meeting. If you go ahead and go into calendar and go back into that meeting and click chat with participants, it also pulls up that chat window. So maybe you don't remember the name of the meeting, but if you review and go back to your calendar, you select a different date or time. So if I were to click this meeting here, and then chat with participants. It takes you right back into that conversation. So I'll pause and see if there are any questions on meetings.
Actually, we do have 2 questions that I think we can address. The first one is related to the limits and just have some clarity around the different numbers that we've mentioned so far. So for a meeting, the maximum number of participants is 250. For an actual team, the maximum number of participants is 5,000. If you're doing an ad hoc group chat, then the number of attendees is 100. The second question was related to being able to share content during a meeting. And the answer to that question is yes, you are able to share content. When you are in a meeting, you have the option of clicking on the share button, and then from there you can select a PowerPoint presentation, Excel file, etc., that you want to use to provide a visual while you're conducting your meeting. Those are the 2 open questions. Thanks, Fatia.
Thank you. Sounds good. So now that we're continuing to just move along, we'll go into calls. Now, calls here is where you can have your favorite list. So you can see earlier where we had created that contact group. You see our contacts group here. We can see all of our contacts that we may have or have recently been in contact with. History of any conversations. So anytime you make a call through Teams, you'll be able to see the history of this conversation. And you can also see any voicemails that someone has left for you, and it'll also transcript those voicemails for you as well. So if you're using your mobile application on your government issued phones, you'll be able to go into Teams and quickly have any calls or conversations with individuals. It's a great way to go ahead and get in contact with people and really quickly and easily without if you may or may not have their phone number or their work phone number or their personal phone number. Now, when you're utilizing this on your any application, now Teams will sync across all devices that you're using. So calls, messages, documents shared will go ahead and sync whether you're in the web portal, the desktop application, or if you're on the phone application as well. The phone application is my favorite application to constantly use as a work phone on my phone. We're going to go ahead and click on these 3 little dots here. You'll see here, files is hidden for me, but we'll go through that. This is also where you can see any other applications that are able to be turned on within your tenant. OneNote being one of them, so you can go ahead and have OneNote as an add-on within Teams, Planner, and then any other thing that you may have listed there. Now, this allows you, again, like I said earlier, to use Teams as a hub and a workspace, so you can consistently spend your day within Teams without having to have multiple different windows open. And we'll click on Files. So Files here will allow you to see all documentation that you have shared within a team. So anything that you have recently opened within a team, whether you shared it or somebody else shared it, you're able to see under Recent. Under Teams, you can see all documents that are within your Microsoft Teams. So these is going to be what's listed from your Teams, which is utilizing SharePoint Online. And then your cloud storage here allows you to see your OneDrive for Business. And what you'll notice is you're able to actually click here and say Open in OneDrive, so you can view this online as well and see those documentations. But it allows you to see everything in one place. So you can see all of those documents. So we'll go ahead and go back up top now, and we'll go into Activity. Now, Activity allows you to see things that you have, your personal activity within the past day or so, or however you want to see it filtered as. So this will be anytime someone reacts to a message, maybe anyone sometimes replies to a message or mentions you. Now you can filter your activity by going to the top up here and clicking this filter button. And you can either type a filter or you can click on those 3 options, that more options button again. I'm sorry, lost my words. And you can click on any one of these on here. So if I wanted to see any unread messages that I may have had, you can go ahead and do that way. or if you want to see all mentions that were mentioning you or a channel or team you were part of, you can do this as well. Now, this is at the top of the application because this is where you recommend to start your day off. And this is consistently what you'll go in and see for any missed activity. If you maybe step away from your computer for a bit and come back, you'll notice that activity bell is the best place to see where you left off. And maybe if you're waiting for any replies or anything, where that was coming from as well. So this is where I would recommend starting your day off. Now, if you also see feed, you'll be able to click on my activity. So many times I often forget what channel I posted something in because I'm a part of many different teams and sometimes a lot of them are overlapping. So if I want to go ahead and see the channel that I may have posted something in, when I go to my activity, I can see this is all activity, the things that I've posted within a team. And this is a quick way to go ahead and reference, hey, I don't remember if I posted something there, but I remember that it had an attachment. You're able to go ahead and click around and see. Now, the other thing that you can do with that is you can go ahead and continue to filter. So maybe you remember that it had an attachment, or maybe you remember that it was in a general channel. You can go ahead and type and search for those filters there. And then just continuing to go along. You did see earlier, I was doing a lot of searching up here, and this is our search window. And this will search for individuals, it'll search for files, or you can do this backslash, and it'll give you a menu option for all different types of shortcuts that you'll be able to do. So for example, if I wanted to say backslash files, it would go ahead and show me files that were recently opened within Teams. And I can go ahead and click. The most frequent backslash that I see people do is I'll actually see backslash away. And that'll quickly set your status to away without you having to go into your profile and change your settings. Now, like I said, you're also able to search for meetings or individuals or group chats. But let's say I want to go ahead and search for, I'll say Shivam. But if I were to just click enter, it'll take me to Shivam's chat window. Now, if I click the search for Shivam here, this gives me more search options within Teams. So I can go ahead and say, I want to see files that Shivam may have interacted with within our trainings teams. So you can see when I did that, I have more breakdown of what Shivam has gone ahead and uploaded within a team. So this is great for maybe you remember the name of something that was in a post, who posted it, but you don't remember where they posted it, and there's been a lot of activity since that post. You're able to go ahead and filter and complete those searches through there. Now, one more thing that I do want to go over before I start going over your status review is right along the left-hand side. I reviewed a lot in the past hour. So if you want to remember quick little tips or tricks on how to do something specifically within Teams, you're able to go here and get some help. So this will actually show you. So if you want to go into how do I create a Teams channel, so it'll give you a walkthrough of how you do that. And most times it'll break it down for how do you do it within your mobile device and your desktop application. So this is a great tool to go ahead and have, so get some quick help with. So right up here where your profile lives, you will actually be able to set your status. So you can go ahead and set to available, away, do not disturb, be right back. If you do set the status to do not disturb, we'll go over that in a few seconds where to change specific settings for that. But that allows you only to get notifications for urgent messages or from contacts that you see are priority contacts. And I'll show you how to do that. At any point in time, when you manually change your status, Teams will keep it on that status as long as until you go back in and change it again. So what I would recommend is going in here and clicking reset status, which will allow Teams to realize, okay, this person's been inactive, they're available, or they're in a meeting. But if you do set it to do not disturb, we'll go ahead and show you where to change those settings. Now, setting a status message allows you to go ahead and have a quick message that'll appear above your chat window when someone tries to chat with you. Now, this isn't going to be an out of office message, but people frequently use this to, also go hand in hand with an out of office message. So maybe they can put why they're out of office, or they can also say that there may be delayed responses due to them having many meetings today or whatever it may be. So you can go ahead and choose to set a status message. And you can also go ahead and say after today or after a few hours, I want the status message to disappear. Saved messages here is like flagging a message. So anytime you would want to save a message, you just hover over that message again, click on the 3 dots and click Save this message. Now, save allows you to come back to that message really easily. So I can see here that I saved this particular message from Shivam from earlier this week, and I'm able to go ahead and go into that really fast. Now, this is a great tool to use to make sure that you're maybe coming back where you left off, or maybe you want to go ahead and follow a conversation that you found within a Teams channel, and you want to see what the response or answer may be for reference. You can go ahead and save that message. Now, settings here allows you to go ahead and change your theme, whether it may be from default to dark, however you see fit, or high contrast. Privacy allows you to manage that priority access. So you can go ahead and click and see. I have Michael set to priority access, but now I want to go ahead and add Shivam set. So even though I will be on do not disturb, I will get messages and notifications still from those 2 individuals. Again, that was under privacy settings. Notifications here allows you to go ahead and see how you want Teams to notify you. So a banner is that message that appears right above your time on the lower right-hand side of your computer that'll come across when someone sends you a message. And this email is in reference to any missed activity email. So if you click on this, you'll be able to say, okay, do I want this particular personal mentions to be a banner and email? Do I just want it to be a banner, or do I only want it to show up in my feed? I recommend that you go ahead and personalize how you would want Teams to notify you or send you those missed email alerts. And if you go into other, is where you'll see what exactly how often it's going to send you that missed activity email. So that missed activity email will be sent by default every hour. But you're also able to go in and say, I want an email from Teams as soon as someone messages me. I want one once every 10 minutes for any missed activity. I want to go ahead and have it every hour. That's going to be your default. Every 8 hours, daily, or off. Now, some people do really like for Teams just to send them one message altogether at the end of the day. And some people enjoy this hour email. Now, the email will go ahead and send you saying, hey, it may say Shivam has tried to chat with you in Teams, or Michael has mentioned you in this conversation. And once you click on that message, it'll actually go ahead and open up Teams for you, so you're able to pick up where you left off. So again, going in and personalizing these settings is going to help you personalize the way that you want Teams to notify you. So I'll go ahead and pause and see if we have any more questions.
Hi, Fatia. Yeah, actually just one question related to the banner and email notification settings. And the question was, if I select to have a notification sent to my email, how do I access it? And in this case, as it relates to CVR, if you are receiving any type of meeting invite or email notification that's generated through Teams, those notifications will be sent to your .mail email address that's associated with your primary mailbox that's outside of the CVR environment. So although the activity may be generated in Teams, we understand that for your primary email system, that's not within CVR. So the system will be configured to send the alert to your .mail email address. That's the only question for now. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, so that is our overview of Microsoft Teams. Like I said earlier about Teams, the best way to really get to use this application is to start using it and start utilizing all of the great features that it has. I'll tell you a little background. When our team started using Teams, it really was just an application that showed up and we didn't realize its power and its use. But now I probably spend about 80% of my day collaborating with my direct team within Teams. And the 20% I'm in my Outlook email is to collaborate with those outside of my team, or maybe send final reports that we had completed within a chat or a team. So Teams is such a great and powerful tool to start utilizing, especially during these times of situations where a lot of us are remote working and aren't able to go ahead and collaborate with individuals face to face. So with that being said, thank you so much for attending this morning's session. And I will go ahead and pass it back to Sharon.
Thank you, Fatia. What a great session. Thanks, everyone, for joining us this morning. Really appreciate your time. We hope that you've benefited from the information that was shared and look forward to seeing you in Teams. The question and answer window will remain open for a few more minutes for any last-minute questions that you may have. Thanks again for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your day.